Welcome to Stoic channel. We hope you will have fun with us, enjoy watching. You've moved on, that's what you tell yourself. But if she still haunts your thoughts without ever saying a word, then something is broken, not just in you, but in the way you understand yourself, and this video will break that illusion completely. Before we begin, I want you to comment. I choose clarity over chaos because what we're about to unpack will shift the foundation of how you process heartbreak, obsession, and memory. This is not about her. This is about how you respond to the ghost she left behind. If these videos hit your core, support this channel so more people who feel too much, think too deeply, and suffer silently can finally wake up and take their life back. One, you're still trying to rewrite the past while she's out living her life, posting her filtered smiles, texting someone else, probably telling herself she dodged a bullet. You're still here. Frozen, stuck, not in her reality, not even in your own, but in a version of the past that only exists in your head, a version where maybe if you'd just done one thing differently, said something better, looked stronger, acted more like the man you should have been, she'd still be here. And that belief, that twisted little lie, it's eating you alive. You're not replaying memories to remember, you're replaying them to rewrite them. You've become a director of a film that already ended, trying to shoot alternate endings that no one will ever watch. But you. And while you drown in those rewrites, life is moving on without you. You are trying to change history with guilt, with tears, with regret, as if your suffering will summon her back like some sort of sacrifice. It won't. She's not thinking about you the way you think about her. She's not sitting in her room wondering what you're doing. If she cared, she'd make it known. If she wanted you, she'd reach out. Silence is a message, and if you ignore that message long enough, you'll build your own prison out of fantasies, because this isn't about her anymore. It's about you trying to resurrect a version of yourself that was never enough to keep her in the first place. That's what hurts, not that she's gone, but that she saw you and still walked. You know what men don't like? Admitting that they weren't ready, that they had her but didn't deserve her, that they thought they were kings but behaved like boys. And now you're obsessed not with her, but with who you wish you had been when she was still around. The truth. You're not in love, you're ashamed, and shame is louder than heartbreak. Shame tells you to hold on because letting go means admitting failure, and you'd rather bleed than fail. But pain doesn't fix the past. It just keeps you stuck in it. She's not a person in your mind anymore. She's a mirror reflecting every part of you that you don't want to face. Your indecision, your weakness, your emotional immaturity. You're not chasing her. You're avoiding the man you need to become. And Stoicism tells you, don't chase what's gone, accept what is, own what's left, build what comes next. You don't need closure. You need courage. Courage to let her go without needing a reason. Courage to stop checking her socials, courage to stop stalking her shadow. In every woman, you meet courage to take all that energy, all that pain, and turn it into progress. That's your duty now, not to win her back, but to build yourself so powerfully that her absence becomes irrelevant, because if she didn't stay, then she wasn't aligned with the man you were supposed to become. Read that again. She was never the reward. She was the wake-up call, the hard lesson the moment you got punched in the mouth by life and learned that attraction isn't enough, that you don't get to keep women just because you want them. You keep them by earning them, by leading, by becoming solid, by embodying the strength, clarity, and presence that requires no validation. But you didn't, and now you're stuck. Before this story spirals even further, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for more. And when the story ends, don't forget to show your support through likes and comments. Trying to write a happy ending in a chapter that's already been published. Stop rewriting it. Burn it, archive it. Let that version of you die. The one who begged, who chased, who overthought, who got emotional, who reacted instead of leading, because the man who rewrites the past never builds a future. You want her out of your head? Then you need to dominate your now. Wake up at 6 a.m. Get in the gym, delete the messages you keep rereading. Block the profile you keep visiting. Forgive yourself without needing her forgiveness. Find a purpose bigger than her. Build discipline so unbreakable that obsession dies from starvation. Replace every thought of her with one action towards your growth. Turn longing into lifting. Turn pain into reps, turn regret into revenue. Turn shame into structure. You're still trying to rewrite the past because you haven't written anything new. Write it today. Now build a life so loud that the ghosts can't speak, live so intentionally that your memories lose relevance. And when your mind drifts back to her, and it will remind yourself, I gave her my time. But now I give myself my life, she left good. That means you get to become the man who doesn't need her to stay. The man who is so clear, so focused, so untouchable that the next woman will either rise to meet him or disappear like dust, and he won't flinch either way. Because he doesn't rewrite the past, he writes his legacy, and that's what you're here to do. Don't waste another second scripting scenes that never happened. Don't keep polishing memories of a version of her that only lived in your imagination. She wasn't perfect. You weren't ready. It's over now. It's on you to do what she never asked and become the man she never met. The one who doesn't break under heartbreak, who doesn't flinch at loss, who doesn't worship what walked away. The one who walks forward, scars exposed, past buried, eyes locked on what he is building, not what he buried. You're still trying to rewrite the past because the present feels meaningless, so give it meaning, give it purpose, give it your full, brutal, masculine attention. And when your old self begs to go back, tell him that version of me died with her exit. And what rose in his place is a man who never begs twice, a man who never rewrites what's already done, a man who faces forward always, because while the world worships feelings, you will worship action, while others crumble in heartbreak, you will carve strength from silence, while others chase closure, you will build clarity. And when the thoughts of her creep in again, when the nights feel long, when her name echoes in your mind, remind yourself, I am not writing her story anymore. I'm living mine. 3. You mistake pain for purpose. Pain feels noble, it feels real, it feels like proof that you cared. But it's a lie. Your mind tells you to justify your inaction. You're not sitting in pain because you're loyal. You're sitting there because it's the only feeling left that reminds you of her. She's not calling, she's not texting, she's not even thinking about you. And still you hold on to the pain like it's a medal of honor. You wear it like armor, convincing yourself. It makes you deeper, more romantic, more evolved than the others. But it's not depth. It's delusion. You've confused suffering with significance. You think, because she mattered, the hurt should stay. But pain doesn't mean love. It means you haven't moved. And what you don't realize is that your obsession with pain is making you weak in mind, weak in spirit, weak in discipline. Because pain feels like something is happening. It tricks you into believing you're processing, but you're not. You're stalling. You're giving yourself permission to rot. In a chapter that should have ended. Stoicism doesn't glorify pain. It recognizes it and then demands mastery over it. You don't sit in the fire, hoping it proves your love. You walk through it and build from the ashes, because while you cry over her memory, another man is waking up early, grinding, building himself while you reread messages that haven't been updated in months. Another man is building emotional armor through intentional suffering, cold showers, heavy lifts, disciplined focus. While you overthink what she meant by that one emoji, another man is learning to never again depend on anyone's words for his peace. And this is your wake-up call that pain you're in. It's not sacred. It's not special. It's the default state of a man who refuses to grow. You think she's still in your mind because she mattered. No, she's still in your mind because you haven't given your mind anything more valuable to obsess over. Pain fills the void when purpose is missing. If your days are empty, if your calendar is wide open, if your room is silent, then your brain will bring her back to fill the noise, because she was once the loudest and you've left nothing else to rise above her volume. That's not love. That's laziness, that's surrender. You want to replace pain with power. Start creating structure. Pain hates structure. Pain dies when routine is tight. When vision is clear, when your standards are too high to let sadness stay in the room, you want to stop thinking about her. Build a life so productive that there's no space left for memory. Fill every idle second, not with distractions, with direction. Discipline kills heartbreak. Vision silences ghosts and results. Erase old stories, because when your bank is up, your body is solid, your mind is sharp, and your life is expanding. She becomes irrelevant. Not because she didn't matter, but because you finally do. Most men think they're emotional because they're deep. No, you're emotional because you're directionless. Emotions dominate the man without a path. Pain leads the man without a plan. If you had a mission, you wouldn't have time to cry. You'd thank her for leaving because it freed your hands to finally pick up the tools you needed to become dangerous. Pain feels like purpose because it's the only intense thing left in your life, and the answer is not to numb the pain. It's to outgrow it. She should be a spark, not a chain, something that set you on fire, not something that keeps you locked in place. Take inventory. What time are you waking up? What do your weekends look like? How many books have you read this year? How many hours of focused work do you do each day? How much money have you generated since she left? If those answers are low, the pain will stay high. Not because she is unforgettable, but because your life is still too small to eclipse her. Pain is loud when your progress is quiet. Grow louder, be louder. Dominate your time so completely that the version of you who was broken by her looks like a stranger. Make your routine unrecognizable to the man you were when she walked, because that's how you win, not by getting her back, but by becoming so focused, so locked in, so committed to your vision that even if she returned, she'd find no space left for her. You mistake pain for purpose because you've forgotten that real purpose burns hotter than heartbreak, and it builds, while pain only destroys. Every time you romanticize your sadness, you reinforce it. Stop, cut it, kill the narrative, replace it, replace feelings with focus, replace obsession with structure, replace weakness with reps in the gym. Replace guilt with standards. Replace chaos with clarity. Your pain is not a crown, it's a cage. It keeps you soft, it keeps you nostalgic, it keeps you dependent. You want to become a man worth remembering. Let her go without applause, move on without bitterness, build without needing an audience. Make your strength so consistent, so quiet, so undeniable that no one even realizes you were hurting. They just see the empire and wonder who built it, and you'll know it was built not because of her, but after her, because of who you chose to become. She left, pain came, you stayed, but not anymore from today. Pain serves you or it leaves. You've got building to do. You've got silence to break, and you've got a future that doesn't include memories of her, but victories without her start. Now 3. You haven't closed the emotional chapter. You say it's over, but your actions tell a different story. You still replay her voice. When your room goes silent, you still check your phone hoping she liked something, anything. You still hesitate when a new woman smiles at you because part of you feels like you're betraying her. Not because she was the one, but because you never chose to bury the story. You walked out of the relationship, but you never walked out of the fantasy. That's why she's still in your mind, no communication, no updates, no signs. And yet she owns more space in your thoughts than the life you're trying to build. You haven't closed the chapter because you're still reading it every day line by line, and you disguise it as reflection. But reflection without redirection is just rumination. And rumination is mental quicksand. The more you step into it, the deeper you sink. She isn't haunting you, you're haunting yourself. She's gone living a life that doesn't include you, and you're still holding imaginary conversations, rewriting endings, romanticizing moments that broke you. You haven't faced the reality she made her choice. She chose to stop choosing you, and the longer you resist accepting that, the longer you live in a story with no plot, no future, no audience. Instead of walking forward, you're sitting at the edge of a closed door hoping she'll come back for what you refuse to let die, but she's not coming. Her silence is your answer. Her distance is your closure, and the fact that you still need more than that tells you everything. You're not after truth, you're addicted to hope. Hope that she'll regret it. Hope that she'll miss you. Hope that what ended wasn't real but just paused. It's not paused, it's done. And the sooner you bury it, the sooner you breathe. Instead of saving screenshots of her texts, delete the entire thread. Instead of asking mutual friends how she's doing, block the question in your own mind. Instead of visiting the places you once went with her, go somewhere new and force a new memory. Stop lighting candles in a graveyard. Closure isn't a gift. It's a decision. You keep waiting for her to give you something, an apology, a goodbye, a reason. But even if she gave it, you wouldn't accept it. Because the pain has become familiar, and familiarity feels like safety. So you hold the wound open pretending it's a scar, but you haven't healed. You've just gotten used to the limp. If you want closure, stop acting like the victim of her silence and become the architect of your discipline. Choose silence that builds, not silence that binds. Start with the facts she left. Accept that, then own the reality you stayed in the wreckage. That's not her fault. That's your avoidance, and until you confront it, nothing changes. Every new woman you meet will be compared to her ghost. Every conversation will feel like cheating. Every step forward will be sabotaged by a subconscious attachment to someone who didn't choose you. That's not loyalty. That's emotional cowardice. You think keeping her memory alive honors what you had. But what you had wasn't sustainable. You weren't enough then, and she wasn't meant for where you're going. So why do you keep kneeling at her altar? You don't need to hate her. You need to forget the pedestal. She's not your savior, she's not your wound. She's a woman who moved on, and you're a man who's pretending moving on is betrayal. It's not, it's survival. The Stoics taught that nothing outside your control is worth your suffering. You can't control her choices, but you can control whether or not you let those choices define your identity. Do you even know who you are without the story of losing her? Do you know what you stand for without the crutch of heartbreak? To explain your stagnation, you could have taken the pain and forged purpose. But you turned it into a personality, and now you wear the mask of the guy who was hurt because it gets you sympathy. Sympathy doesn't make you strong. It makes you dependent. Start acting like the man who closes his own chapters, who doesn't beg life for clarity but writes his own closure with brutal honesty. Every day you carry her in your mind is a day you delay becoming who you were meant to be. It's not romantic, it's not poetic, it's pathetic, and you know it. You feel it every time you lie awake, replaying the last fight, every time you check her status at 2 a.m., every time you wonder if she's with someone better. Stop guessing, start grinding. The right woman won't compete with your memories, but she won't wait around. While you mourn someone who doesn't mourn, you become emotionally available again, not by finding someone new, but by finally letting the old version of you die. The version who needed her. The version who relied on her attention to feel alive. That version must be buried if you ever want to build something real. Close the chapter, rip the pages, burn them if you have to, but stop rereading them like they're gospel. They're not. Their history, and history only repeats itself if you refuse to write something new. Put the pen in your hand. Write today. Write pain into progress. Write her out of your system with action, not emotion. Move so hard, so fast, so focused that the echo of her name gets lost in your legacy. She left you here, start acting like it means something. Start choosing yourself like she chose herself. Not to get revenge, not to win her back, but because peace is the ultimate power. And it begins the moment you say this chapter is closed. 4. You're avoiding the present. You think she's still in your mind because you loved her deeply. You think the silence she left behind is proof of how much she meant to you. You think constantly remembering her, fantasizing about her return, reimagining conversations that never happened is some kind of unresolved love, but it's not. You're not obsessed with her, you're hiding from yourself. You are avoiding now because now demands action and action demands discomfort. You crave the past not because it was better, but because it lets you off the hook, because the past doesn't require you to face your empty bank account. Your out-of-shape body, your weak habits, your fragile ego. She's in your mind because she's your escape route from what you've failed to become today. Instead of fixing your life, you keep remembering the girl who once made it feel meaningful. That's not love, that's emotional anesthesia. Instead of confronting your career stagnation, you scroll through her old photos. Instead of dominating your day with discipline, you scroll through DMS, hoping for some hint. She still thinks of you. Instead of walking outside and facing reality, you hide in nostalgia because it is easier to romanticize the girl who left than it is to become the man who doesn't get left anymore. You don't miss her. You miss who you were when she liked you. You miss the version of yourself that had direction, hope, attention. But here's the problem. That version of you died when you stopped showing up for your own life. She didn't kill him. You did. You replaced him with a ghost who lives inside his memories and calls it love. But memory is just a highlight reel of a movie that already flopped. It won't change the plot. You keep asking why she's still in your head. She's there because your present is a blank page and your ego hates blank pages. Blank pages mean you've got to write something new, uncomfortable, demanding, and you haven't earned that clarity yet. So instead of facing your boredom, your mediocrity, your unfinished goals, you escape into yesterday. The Stoics warned us, do not waste time on what you cannot change. The past is over. It's not coming back, no matter how much you fantasize. If you keep her in your head, it's because you're afraid of what the present will say to you if you shut her off. The truth is, today is asking you to evolve, to be uncomfortable, to make choices you've been avoiding. And instead of stepping into it, you lay down in your mind and replay the greatest hits of a woman who no longer gives you access. Instead of fixing your habits, you fixate on how she smiled. Instead of building your business, you build narratives about how she might still love you. Deep down. Instead of growing up, you stay stuck. Your imagination became your drug and she became the needle. But fantasy won't make you great. Fantasy won't pay your bills. Fantasy won't carry your name into legacy action. Will. Presence will. Showing up will. When was the last time you planned a full day without distractions? When was the last time you made your bed? Made a decision, made yourself so busy that no ghost could find room in your mind. You can't heal when you're hiding. You can't grow when you're clinging to a version of life that doesn't even want you back. You're chasing her ghost because it's easier than building the man who can't be forgotten. Want to know how to kill the obsession? Fill the space. Fill it with suffering that grows you. Fill it with work that rewards you. Fill it with movement. With purpose. With pursuit. Instead of wondering what she's doing, do something so powerful, it silences the question you say you can't stop thinking about her. Maybe you never made anything else worth thinking about. Your business isn't growing, your muscles are soft, your schedule is reactive, your mindset is fragile, and your dopamine is tied to a woman who hasn't even looked back. And you wonder why she's still in your thoughts, because she's the most interesting thing in your world. Replace her not with another girl with a better vision, a deeper mission, a ruthless obsession with the man you said you'd be when she left. You should have built an empire, but you built a memorial. You should have gone silent and built momentum, but you stayed loud about your feelings and quiet about your results. And you wonder why the pain lingers, because your life is empty and your mind fills it with what once was. That ends now. Today you face the mirror. Today, you stop using her as a distraction from your own mediocrity. Instead of saying I miss her, say I owe me. Instead of texting her happy birthday, read 30 pages. Instead of watching her stories, track your calories. Instead of wondering what could have been, show up and create what will be. She's not holding you back. You are. She's not avoiding you, you're avoiding yourself. Your future's waiting, but it doesn't beg. Either you return to the present and fight for something new, or you rot in the illusion that she was your peak. She wasn't, she was a checkpoint and you paused too long. Now it's time to press play, because every second you spend in yesterday is one more you steal from your legacy, and she's not in your future because the man you're becoming doesn't chase ghosts. He hunts goals. He crafts his character in the fire of discomfort. He builds mornings that don't leave space for mourning, and he earns peace through presence, not memory. So stop asking why she's still in your mind. Start asking why you've left your mind. Unguarded, untrained, undisciplined. Build the kind of day that leaves no room for her shadow, because if she isn't talking to you, she's not thinking of you. And if you're still thinking of her, it's because your present hasn't earned your attention yet. Fix that. Today. 6. You made her the proof of your worth. You didn't just like her. You built your self-esteem around her attention. The moment she looked at you like you mattered, your identity inflated. When she complimented you, it echoed louder than anything you ever told yourself. Her validation wasn't just appreciated, it became essential, and when she pulled it away, your sense of self crumbled. Not because she was the one, but because you convinced yourself that she was the mirror you needed to feel like a man. You tied your value to her presence, her attention, her approval, her desire. So when she left, it wasn't just heartbreak. It was existential collapse. You stopped knowing who you were without her gaze to define you. You mistook her presence as confirmation that you were good enough and her absence as proof that you never were. That's why she's still in your mind, because you never replaced the source of your worth. You just lost it, and now you float. Uncertain, bitter, ashamed. Instead of anchoring your confidence in your principles, you anchored it in her preferences. Instead of defining your masculinity through action, you let her reaction become your scoreboard. That's why her silence stings more than your failure. Why her withdrawal hurts more than your lost goals. She wasn't just someone you loved. She was the certificate you used to justify your existence. But here's the truth. Any man who needs a woman to feel worthy is not a man. Yet he's a project, a work in progress, a boy dressing up as a king hoping she won't notice the paper crown. Your problem wasn't her leaving, your problem was outsourcing your self-respect to someone who didn't build it. You expected her to hold together what you never learned to own. And when she stopped clapping for your potential, your performance collapsed. But that's on you. If your strength depends on her applause, it was never real. She didn't destroy you. She exposed you, and now you have 3 choices: keep chasing her attention like a starving addict, or start manufacturing your own confidence from the raw material of discipline. Silence and brutal truth. Instead of thinking you're only powerful when she posts you on her story, start becoming a man so driven, so precise, so unfazed that her validation would be a luxury, not a need. Instead of scrolling her profile wondering if she still sees your value, build a life so undeniably strong, she couldn't ignore it if she tried, but not for her, for you. Because if the only reason you rise is to prove her wrong, you're still her prisoner. And if the only way you feel something is when you get her attention, you're not in control. She is. This is about your freedom, about your throne, about building a foundation that doesn't crack when she walks away, because if your worth is tied to her presence, then every woman after her will inherit the same power to break you. And that's not power you can afford to give. You're a man you build, you lead, you define, and no woman, no matter how beautiful, no matter how sweet, no matter how connected, should be the reason you feel enough. Instead of needing her to call you king, act like one. Instead of wondering if she misses you, ask yourself if the man you are now is even worth missing. Instead of crying over the girl who left, grind so ruthlessly that you become untouchable because she didn't just leave, she recalibrated your truth. She reminded you that you were depending on her to complete you. But you don't need completion, you need construction, you need war, you need to struggle without begging, to grind, without audience, to evolve without applause. And the moment you stop assigning your worth to a woman's love, you start building the kind of life that can't be shaken by absence. You can want her, miss her, even mourn her, but never again should you define yourself through her reflection. The world is brutal and modern relationships are transactional. You are loved for what you provide and replaced when that value slips. So the answer isn't becoming cold, it's becoming complete. Complete men don't seek constant validation. They move with purpose, with code, with principles that stand even when no one's watching. Stop proving yourself to her. Start proving yourself to yourself. Measure your success by your silence, your discipline, your results, not her replies. Replace. I hope she sees me now with I see myself clearly. Replace. Am I enough for her with? Is she aligned with who I am? That shift changes everything. It puts you back in the driver's seat. And no woman, no silence, no rejection, can derail you again. She was never supposed to be your proof. She was supposed to be your companion. You made her your goddess. And now you're angry. She didn't perform miracles, but she never could. That was your fantasy, your emotional laziness, your desire to be saved instead of forged. End it now. Don't chase her shadow, chase your standard. Don't search for her signal. Build your signal so loud it drowns out the past. And the next time a woman comes into your life, you'll greet her from a place of wholeness, not hunger. You'll see her as an addition, not an answer, because you already answered your worth with action. That's the man she'll respect. That's the man you'll respect. And if she walks, you'll stay standing. Not because you're heartless, but because your worth isn't up for debate. It's built, earned, proven by you for you forever. 6. You've become the prisoner of memory. You walk through life with your body in the present and your mind shackled to yesterday you're not living. You're looping, stuck in highlight reels of a woman who no longer looks back. You call it reflection, you say it's healing, but deep down, you know, it's addiction. You're not addicted to her. You're addicted to the man you were when she loved you, the world you shared, the hope you felt, the version of yourself you thought was finally enough. And now, without her you can't breathe the same because she didn't just leave. She took your mental timeline with her, your best memories, your clearest identity, your imagined future. And now all you do is replay the scenes where she smiled, where she laughed, where she touched your soul without even knowing it. But that's the problem. She's gone and you still think those scenes mean something. You've trapped yourself in a fantasy so detailed it feels more real than your current life. You'd rather sit in the movie theater of what was than face the blank screen of what could be. You've become a curator of your own suffering, collecting every sensory detail like they were artifacts of a holy romance. But they're not sacred. They're weights, heavy, nostalgic, paralyzing weights that crush your ability to move forward. Instead of creating new experiences, you revisit the same ones like a man walking the halls of a home that burned down years ago. You've made a museum out of moments and you're the only visitor. You speak of her like she still belongs to you, but she doesn't. She made her choice, she turned the page, and you stayed in the chapter, rereading the lines that once gave you life. But the ink is dry now and the story is closed. You think the memories are comforting, but they're not. They're chains. You use them to avoid growth, to avoid risk, to avoid becoming a man who faces the present without a crutch. Instead of building the business, you stare at her picture. Instead of owning your time, you wait for a message that isn't coming. Instead of facing your weaknesses, you glorify a version of her that forgave them. But that man, the one she once loved, wasn't enough, you weren't ready, you didn't lead, you didn't evolve. And now, instead of facing that truth, you drown it in nostalgia. She's not a ghost, she's a distraction, a symbol of what you refuse to confront. You let your mind become a prison because the pain feels familiar, but familiarity is the enemy of progress. The Stoics said, "The obstacle is the way," but you made your obstacle a comfort zone. You sleep beside the idea of her, instead of rising to face who you must become, you think of her daily, not because she was the greatest, but because your present is uninspired. You let one woman become your mental empire, and when she left, you lost your throne. But you were never a king. If you needed her crown, you were a servant to fantasy, so stop asking why she's still in your thoughts. Ask why your reality is so empty that your thoughts need her to feel full. You were never supposed to stay in memory. Memory is a teacher, not a dwelling. You don't live in a classroom. You learn, then leave. That's what evolution requires. Growth doesn't come from emotional recycling. It comes from confrontation, from action, from becoming undeniable through behavior, not imagination. Instead of saying miss her, say and miss the man I was supposed to be and go find him instead of waiting for her to reappear. Reappear, in your own damn life. You don't need closure. You need clarity, clarity that she is gone, that you must burn the tapes, that your future will not be found in the past, and that your soul is not fed by rewatches. It is fed by rebirth. Stop thinking of what she said, what she wore, where you went. Stop walking the same streets, hoping to bump into her shadow. Stop wearing the same cologne, hoping it triggers her memory. She's not thinking of you, and even if she is, it doesn't matter because you're not her concern anymore. You are your concern, and the longer you avoid that, the more pathetic your potential becomes. Stop wasting emotion on someone who lives in the past tense. Replace your rituals of remembrance with habits of growth. Replace longing with lifting. Replace scrolling with strategy. Replace wandering with work. Build a day so full that memory doesn't stand a chance. Stack wins until nostalgia suffocated. Get in the gym until her name fades in the mirror. Master your craft until her voice is drowned out by applause you earned. Read books until her story gets replaced with better narratives. Earn money until you're too focused to even spell her name right. You're not healing because you're not moving. Movement kills memory. Momentum murders regret. Every action you take toward your goals pushes her further into irrelevance. And one day, without realizing it, you'll go an entire hour, then a day, then a week without thinking of her, and it won't hurt. It will feel like peace because you finally broke the chain, not by trying to forget, but by building a life worth remembering. You were not meant to be a prisoner. You were meant to be a creator, but you can't create when your hands are busy holding onto the ashes of what used to be. Let go, not gently, violently declare war on your stagnation. Free yourself from the memory. She was a moment, not your mission. 7. You fear letting go. You tell yourself you are healing. You tell yourself you're processing it. You tell yourself that time will take care of the pain, but the truth is you're scared not of her, not of heartbreak. You're terrified of what letting go actually means, because letting go forces you to face that it's over, no comeback story, no second chance, no romantic twist where she realizes what she lost, just silence, just the brutal truth that she made her decision, and the chapter is closed. Letting go means stepping into a world where your pain isn't a reason to stall anymore. It means removing the excuse that gave your comfort zone meaning. It means starting from nothing again. Without her hand, without her eyes, without her comfort. And for a man who tied so much of his identity to her presence, that's death. You're not scared of losing her, you already did. You're scared of what your life means without her, because so far you haven't defined it. You built everything around the idea that she'd be there, your dreams, your image, your future, your self-worth. And now, instead of building something new, you linger. You scroll. You remember, you replay, you numb. Because moving on doesn't feel like healing. It feels like betrayal. You think if you let her go, then everything you shared meant nothing, that if you stopped loving her, then it wasn't real. But that's the lie. Letting go doesn't erase what was, it honors it. It takes the truth, the beauty, the pain, and buries it with dignity. You are not meant to carry it forever. Love is not a life sentence. It's a season, and seasons change, but you won't evolve because your ego can't accept the silence. You think it's weak to release, but clinging to something that doesn't exist anymore. That's weakness. You stay. Because familiarity feels safer than the unknown, you stay. Because missing her gives you identity, you stay. Because chasing her ghost is easier than chasing your potential. You don't need her anymore. You need courage. You need to stop performing heartbreak like it's a virtue. There's nothing noble about staying stuck. There's no reward for emotional paralysis. You're not proving anything by holding on. You're just proving that you're afraid to grow. Letting go means you stop building your day around her memory. It means you stop using her name to explain your lack of progress. It means you finally ask the hard question. Who am I without her? And when you ask it honestly, you'll realize how much of yourself you abandoned just to keep her. You gave her your attention, your time, your energy, and when she left, she took it all with her, but you stayed behind. Now you have to rebuild without the illusion, without the fantasy, without the hope. And that rebuild is what you fear, because rebuilding means owning every way you failed, every place you were weak, every signal you ignored. Every time you chose comfort over character, you fear letting go because she was the distraction from all of it. The convenient reason why you haven't shown up, the emotional blanket you wrapped around your lack of ambition. Letting go strips all that away. It forces you to lead, to stop blaming, to stop crying over what you never had control over. Instead of saying she changed, start saying I allowed it. Instead of saying she walked away, start asking why did I stand still? You don't need another sign. Her silence is your signal, her absence is your assignment. Letting go doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you start choosing to build a life that isn't rooted in memory, choosing to act from strength instead of longing, choosing to be dangerous in your discipline instead of fragile in your feelings. That's what scares you, the man you'll have to become if you stop mourning. Because once the grief is gone, the mirror is all that's left. And that mirror shows a man who has work to do, work on his habits, his focus, his emotions, his grind. Letting go is your initiation into real manhood, into emotional mastery, into peace that isn't dependent on anybody's presence. It's time to let her go, not with drama, not with blame, with silence, with decisiveness, with movement. Don't text her. Don't post about her. Don't explain your growth, show it. Let your progress become the ghost she can't outrun. Let your next chapter be so loud it silences every memory. Let your value be so undeniable, it renders her absence irrelevant. Letting go is how legends are born, not in clinging in, cutting in, drawing a line in the sand and refusing to bleed another drop for a woman who wouldn't stop to wipe it. You owe her nothing, but you owe yourself everything. So stop asking how, just do it. Cut the thread, step into the unknown, trust the discomfort, and lead yourself out of this prison, because the only thing worse than her leaving is you staying. If she's still in your mind without a word exchanged, it's not about her anymore. It's about what you're refusing to face within. You've just walked through the raw truth of obsession, memory, identity, and growth. Now it's time to stop thinking and start transforming. Comment. I choose clarity over chaos. I would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Every click of yours is valuable to us, as it gives us more motivation to continue sharing more meaningful stories with you. If you like our content, we encourage you to share and leave questions below. Every interaction is a way to build a closer and more connected community, and I invite you to stay with this until the end of the video.